It's been a little bit more than a year since this happened. US President Donald Trump cut financial aid to South Africa and other countries in the region. Especially health programs were shut down.
And especially the way that it was dismantled is an utter shame.
I was devastated thinking about all the services that may be affected.
But there were also different voices.
To be celebrating the shutdown of USAID.
The South African government should pull up his socks.
The issue, a lot of HIV programs in South Africa were funded by PEPFAR, the US President's emergency plan for AIDS relief. We want to find out what effects did the cuts have over a year later. December 2025, an event space in Randburg, Johannesburg. What looks like a joyous affair has a somber background. The NGO Shout It Now is celebrating the impact of its HIV prevention program, DREAMS, and its closure due to the PEPFAR cuts. The program won't continue.
In September, we lost over 90% of our staff complement. That was very, very hard. And I talk about being resilient, but that knocked me. Letting go of such dedicated and committed and passionate people who were also young people by them in their own right, because most of our staff, 77% actually, were people under the age of 35.
Without PEPFAR, there could be an additional 1 to 2 million new HIV infections in South Africa over the next 20 years. Young women such as Thandiwe bear the highest risk. The DREAMS program provided Thandiwe and many others with PrEP HIV prevention in pill form, as seen here in this promotional clip. But the program also taught Thandiwe to stand on her own feet.
I can't say thank you enough to DREAMS, to Shout It Now, for giving me the opportunity to be independent, and most importantly for giving me self-esteem, because mainly I'm an introvert. But it won't show because I've worked on it, and with DREAMS holding my hand, I am who I am today. I can speak freely, I can articulate myself. It's what made me a businesswoman today.
HIV activist and influencer Nomonde Ngema is part of the panel discussion. She knows that there is a strong link between female empowerment, financial independence, and HIV prevention.
When she is independent, she is able to make emotionals that really shape relationships that she gets into. I mean, I can't negotiate for safer sex if I depend on my partner, on my boyfriend, and I really just want to urge everyone to ensure that programs like this don't dry up. They are very essential and critical for our lives.
Over the past 10 years, Shout It Now reached over 900,000 young women through the DREAMS program. Now, its future is uncertain.
This is trust we've built over years. It's not something that is built overnight. And amazingly, it takes just one incident to break it. And now you've got young people who are actually apprehensive about even taking up services or engaging with us because they don't know whether we're going to be there or not in future.
Orange Farm, a township in Gauteng province. Lungile Nimsi is on her way to meet fellow activists. The 27-year-old is part of the Treatment Action Campaign, an HIV/AIDS organization. Her mission is simple: help the youth in her neighborhood stay healthy. But the funding cuts erased a lot of important services.
Most people that I know that use drugs heavily relied on people that came in the hood to give them sterile needles, because we have people who smoke nyaupe here. They share needles, and they no longer have a center where they can go.
No more drug center, no more clean needles, no more youth-friendly services at the clinic in Orange Farm. But they are not the only ones impacted. Across the country, PEPFAR-funded health centers aimed at high-risk groups such as people who inject drugs and men who have sex with men had to close. Over 8,000 health workers lost their jobs. These services are crucial. High-risk groups as well as young people often face stigma at regular clinics. Lungile wants to qualify the impact of the funding cuts and give feedback to local clinic staff. On a regular basis, she goes from door to door to ask young people in her neighborhood about their experiences. Menechle misses the youth-friendly services.
The older people judge, I feel like they judge a lot. Take for instance, if they're going to ask you if, when was the last time you were intimate? And then you say, let's say I say 2 days ago. And then maybe I have a problem with, my private area. They would just say, they throw negative comments.
The side effect, young people disengage from care.
I don't think I'll ever go to a clinic ever again because of the experience. Because I feel like some other people like me, the first impression always lasts.
Issues. Thank you.
Lungile is demanding action.
Our government should prioritize having youth-friendly services and ensuring that they hire more young people so that we also have a safe space when we go to clinics and feel comfortable to talk to an individual that understands what I'm going through in that particular moment.
The USAID cuts had drastic effects on health programs for young South Africans. But what about the voices embracing the cuts?
Be celebrating the shutdown of USAID.
Or the ones demanding independence, like during our street debate.
It's important for African countries to start doubling down on self-sufficiency, on regional cooperation and economic independence.
These voices seem to have become quieter. Our last stop, Soweto in Johannesburg. Mongesi and Neo are on their way to meet up with friends. They are both HIV positive, and the organization they are heading to also suffers from USAID cuts. Activist Nokhlakla Mazaleni still tries to keep everyone's spirits up.
Right.
Nokhlakla runs an MPO, a non-profit organization called Tululwazi Pagati. The name is Zulu and translates to Gaining Inside Knowledge. Her goal is to help young people living with HIV stay on their treatment. By taking antiretroviral drugs, short ARVs, people with HIV can live normal lives, but many struggle to adhere to the treatment.
We're doing ARVs adherence camps. Every school holidays, we take 100 to 150 adolescents living with HIV to a campsite where we teach them how to live positively with HIV. It's not a death sentence. Living with HIV, it's manageable.
Through the camps, Nokhlakla has reached hundreds of young people. Every day, she sends a WhatsApp reminder to the participants to take their medication. Mongesi changed her habits after attending a camp.
I was a defaulter back then because I was never drinking my treatment. It teach me a lot, how to respect you first, how to accept yourself, and how to disclose to people and to your partner.
Nokhlakla tries to stay positive, but her work is in jeopardy. The venue for her camps was funded through USAID. The South African government has released gap funding, but a lot of it hasn't reached grassroots organizations such as Tululwazi.
Our government has promised us a lot of things. We're still not funded. They even promised us the venue. We don't have a venue. I'm hosting all of this here in my house, so it's a challenge. It's a huge challenge.
The Department of Health didn't respond to our questions about the future of the PEPFAR programs. Experts told us that the South African government is in denial of a crisis. The funding cuts could be a chance for more independence from the USAID system. But this process needs to start with accountability at home.